Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program 2, where I think I've decided that I don't want to come into Tylo retrograde here at all. We're just going to flip this around and bring it back out. Hang on, that was a Tylo encounter right there, wasn't it? That's a Tylo impact. Hang on. What do we got going on here? That is a Tylo impact right there. Okay, let's just tweak this a little bit. Other direction? Other direction. No. Prograde, actually. Okay, this is going to be coming in on which side? I'm not actually sure which side we're coming in and going out on. This is a Tylo entry here. This is a Tylo exit. Are we going retrograde here? I kind of need to know this. This is a really nice encounter. No doubt about that. But it would be really nice to know if we were going prograde or retrograde here. And that's actually incredibly, incredibly important to know. I want to bring this down to like 100 kilometers. Actually, what is minimum safe height over Tylo? Let me find out. Minimum safe height Tylo. What do we got? Let's see. 11,290 meters. Well, that may not be accurate. According to the KSP wiki, it's 11,290 meters, but that's probably KSP 1. Let's target somewhere around 50. That's probably reasonably safe. Now the question is this prograde or retrograde? So Tylo is, I believe, tidally locked, and it's going around this way, which means it would be orbiting in, or rather rotating in theory this direction, which would mean we'd want to be coming in on this side. We'd be coming in here. This is the periapsis, and we'd be coming back out over here. I still don't know which is which. We could make a save and do the burn and warp forward and revert back if this is the wrong way. We could. It'd be kind of awkward, but I'll make a quick save here just in case. And let's align. I really wish we knew what direction we were going here. Like, if they just color-coded the entry and the exit points rather than having them be identical, I guess they do go the opposite direction. They do. So which is which? That's an interesting question. These are flowing the opposite direction, and one probably indicates going in, and the other probably indicates going out. I think I would read this as coming in here and going out here, which is the direction I want to head. Okay, let's warp forward and verify. Yeah, we want to go this direction. So I think we read this as coming in here and coming out here. Let's warp forward a little further than this. We need to go another 10 minutes or so. 43 seconds. Okay. 40 seconds. 30. 20. 10 seconds. And 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark. I just noticed this was exactly 1,000 Delta V for this burn. Okay, well, that's going to be like a 3-minute burn, so let's warp on forward. Okay, 2.5 minutes. 2 minutes. Yeah, we don't care about this encounter. We want to flip our directionality because we're going retrograde right now. So we're going to flip it right on around. We're now impacting Jewel, and we're flipping. And then we're going to push it right back out. Okay, we've got about 18 seconds left on this burn. Let's let this head on through. I think I saw a lathe encounter there briefly. We'll probably have some vol encounters as well, but we don't actually want those. So let's just get ourselves into position here. This 53-kilometer orbit seems pretty decent, to be honest. I wonder how big that braking burn is going to be, though. Okay, we've got about 5 more seconds here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're going to do this very gently. Little further. Little further. That should be good. 72. Hang on. Little further then. 55. I want a little more. 40 kilometers. We'll call that good. That should be good. Okay, now we're of course going to need to do our braking burn. So we want to warp in here. This is our encounter. So I want to warp to here. Okay. This didn't warp quite as far as I wanted to, but I want to bring this right on in. Yes, I read this correctly. So we're going the right direction. That looks fantastic. So next we can create a maneuver plan here and bring this guy right on around, and we want to circularize. This is actually a landing, basically where we want to land, but not when we want to land or how we want to land. So I want to change this around to be something like this. I want to pin these guys open and keep an eye on that. Come on, let me get the retrograde marker going. There we go. Okay. So this is approximately what we're looking for, right about here. About 40 kilometers up. It's a very tight orbit, but that's about 1,000 meters per second to get into this. That's not too bad. Our inclination is pretty decent as well, it looks like. So that seems absolutely great. That'll be about a 2.5 minute burn. Okay. I'm a little concerned about our DV and our thrust to weight over Tylo. We'll see what that ends up looking like in our lander. I have a feeling that this is probably going to be the hardest ask of our lander. Just because Tylo... As I think about it, I think that Tylo has the highest gravitational pull of any object in the Kerbal system that does not have an atmosphere that you can use to help slow you down. I think that's true. I'm not 100% on it, but I think that's true. Okay, so we're pretty much aligned here. And let's warp ourselves forward the 2 hours or so that we're going to be falling. We're going to build up a lot of speed here. So let's see what this ends up looking like. Yeah, that's definitely a lot of speed building up. Three kilometers per second. Okay, so we're going to be going at like 2 kilometers per second here. That's spicy. We're going to have to try to take a pretty efficient landing path. Okay, so about 20 seconds, 10 seconds, and 3, 2, 1, mark. Okay, well, let's just use as much fuel as we can from our nuclear engines here. I'm definitely a little concerned about our lander, because keep in mind, we can't use our central lander engine because we have to dock back up. That's a design flaw, I think, and we should address that in future missions, for sure. The way that that's set up is not ideal. No doubt about that. Although, really, if we just remove that engine and switch around our fuel flow, that could do the trick. But we do have about another 3 minutes of burn here. We can only go at about 4x time warp here. So that's going to be, you know, mildly problematic for us. That's for sure. We're cruising pretty quick here, but we are slowing down. Excellent. So we're going to have a lot of horizontal braking to do on the way down, and we're not going to have a lot of ground altitude to do it in. I'm noting we're only about 18 kilometers above the ground right now. I wish I knew what our thrust to weight was here. If I knew what our thrust to weight was, I might try to land on our nuclear engines here. I don't think we have the thrust to weight, though, to be honest. I really don't. So let's just bring ourselves down to about 40 kilometers parallel. That's good enough. Okay, so we'll position it here, and we've got about 2 kilometers per second to shave off. Now, we are in the dark side here, and our target point is in dark side. So that's a thing. That is indeed a thing. I'm thinking about how much DV we have in our lander, and I'm currently thinking, I don't know that it's enough. Well, the combination of DV and thrust to weight. Because we're traveling right now at 2,100 meters per second. So this guy here, he's got about 4 kilometers per second, not counting this central stage. But we need the central stage if we want to dock back up. Now, if this was KSP1, let me tell you what I'd do here. I would simply proceed. And I'd be like, you know what we can do? We can undock here. We can remove with Kerbal engineering this docking port. Then we can utilize this engine and the fuel within. We can remove this nose cone and put the docking port up on that side. And that would pretty much single-handedly solve the problem. As it is, in KSP2, this is going to be a significant issue, I think. I currently have a sneaking suspicion that if we were in a higher orbit, we would be able to kill our horizontal velocity, but our vertical velocity would build up so high that we would run out of delta V. Then, what we would have is we would have our... Well, we could drop down low like this, but then we lack the thrust to weight to be able to get rid of the velocity quickly enough before the impact. This is down quite low. We might have to consider this a dry run. Yeah, I'm definitely considering that right now. So I think we proved this stage very conclusively. I'm much less confident in this stage. If we ditch this nose cone, and maybe even drop the weight of these nose cones, that would help matters. And then we put an additional, well, we put a docking port up here. Yeah, an additional docking port up here. So we can dock it either way. That would help significantly. As it is, I kind of want to try this, but as a simulation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a save here. And we don't really care necessarily about where we land, but we can try to land at the site. So what that would end up looking like, right, is we would separate here. I made the save because I'm saying this is a simulated landing. I'm not convinced at all that this is going to work right now. So if it doesn't work, we can bring these guys back to Kerbin real quick and just call it a dry run and redesign this lander and come back out here. I'm not too concerned about that. So let's undock here and let's give it a try. So what we need to do is we're going to need to activate all of these engines, and we could do it through staging. I'm not sure if that would... That should work. Activating these parts through staging. But regardless, I'm just going to go around and do it this way. Okay, now let's get ourselves a tiny bit of distance here. There we go. And now the question is, if we were to go for a landing, how would we go about doing that? Well, the way that I would want to do that would be that I would want to create a maneuver plan somewhere around here. Yeah, see how that's a collision here at 123 meters per second? That's very inauspicious about our thrust to weight at this altitude. So we could be at a higher altitude. That is a theoretical possibility. If we start this burn right now, we will crash, and I will demonstrate that to you. We have a save. This is a simulation, so it's fine. This engine isn't active. Okay, there we go. Let's tumble this on around, and I'll demonstrate this. So there's not any possibility of landing at this moment. So we start up a burn here. You can see we're already in ground mode. This is because we don't have the thrust to weight to be in this position for landing. This is a really good position to be in, to be clear. I'm going to put us in surface velocity minus, and we're going to impact very soon. This is going to be in 3 minutes and 17 seconds. We're going to impact. There's no way that we get this level of speed burnt off in 3 minutes and 17 seconds. So we could raise up our orbit. If we do that, then we're running into our other limitation, which is delta V. Now, to be clear, we have a small reserve of delta V. But if we tap into it, I suspect we don't get back into orbit. I think there's a possibility that we could land and not get back into orbit. So what I'm thinking right now is we might have to consider this a dry run and redesign our lander, because we're running into dual limitations here. Limitation number one is our thrust to weight. It's quite low for Tylo. It is positive. It is positive. It is theoretically possible with infinite fuel to land here. We don't have infinite fuel, obviously. Infinite fuel is a significant problem. I'm going to extend our landing gear, not like it's gonna help. This is going to be very, very bad. Obviously, we're not aiming for any particular point here. We're currently about 1 minute and 20 seconds from impact. And as you can see, we've gone through about half of our time and burned off about 25% of our speed. This is mathematically not possible from this altitude. But Tylo has such a large gravitational pull that the higher altitude you go with, the more delta V it takes, by a significant margin. To the point where if we wanted to safely land from a high altitude and take back off, we would need probably somewhere around 6 kilometers per second, I think, in order to do that. This stage has 3 kilometers per second. And I don't know if a single engine, if the engine here, would even be capable of doing that. So the primary design flaw, I think... Well, actually, hang on. Let's check this timing. 47 seconds. We are slowing down. There's no doubt about that. I still don't think this is mathematically possible. We're currently down to 1 kilometer per second, and we need to slow down that last kilometer per second in the next 37 seconds. Now, that time will extend out a little bit because we're slowing down, right? So we've got a little bit more than 37 seconds here. Is this viable? I don't think so. I really don't. We're needing to slow down another 900 meters per second, and we currently have 29 seconds to do it in. So I feel like this is the right approach as far as altitude goes, but what we lack here is thrust to weight. I think that's the core takeaway here. So we're down to 750 meters per second with our impact being in 20 seconds. So you can see that our impact is getting further and further out, right? But it is, well, we're slowing down, but we're not slowing down enough. This is indicative of not enough thrust to weight. And you can see that we burned through a huge amount of our fuel as well. So the problem here is our lander design. I think that our lander design is just not cut out for Tylo. This is probably the most extreme landing condition in KSP2 right now, to be clear. And I say that because this is an extremely high density body and it has no atmosphere to slow yourself down with aerobraking. So that means it's an extremely high delta V maneuver to land on, and I just failed to take that into account. You can see here we're moving at 400 meters per second, and we're about to impact. So this is going to go splat. We're going to revert it back as expected. This is exactly what I expected to see here. But now that we've seen... Yeah, I don't actually care about this. We're going to reload this. Now that I've actually seen what we have going on here, I think that this is fine. So I'm going to reload this. I hope that this is the... Yeah, this is this autosave. Okay, so I'm going to control from here. I'm going to set this as our target, and I'm going to point at target. Then I'm going to swap over here. We're going to dock back up as of right now. So I want to set as target. I want to control from here. And I want to point at target. Okay. So we're just going to line these up. We're going to dock them back up. We're going to bring this back and call this a dry run for landing on Tylo. We've definitely learned some things here. No doubt about that. So let's just burn back towards this a little bit. I want to be in target mode, 0.1 meters per second right now. Okay. We're now moving towards it at 0.2 meters per second. Although I'm not sure it's a particularly good angle, judging by this, but looks like it's good enough. Excellent. Docking vessels have merged all research reports. That's interesting. Okay, so we're docked back up here, and at this point, what we need to do is we need to flip back around to prograde, and we need to burn our way out of here. I want to burn sometime like here? This is going to be a little awkward, but I want to burn sometime around here. Okay. Nope, other way around. So on the other side here, and yeah, we'll call this a dry run. We'll come back with a better designed lander. I think that's the core takeaway here, is that we need a better designed lander. So we're pushing this Apoapsis out here. This is pushing what direction once we escape from Jewel? Pushing out towards Elu? Okay, sure. That is reasonably fine. We'll just put it here. Okay. That's fine. 1,197 meters per second as of right now. And let's just orient ourselves for that burn. We're just calling this a dry run. I think it's very clear at this point that this lander is not prepared for landing on Tylo. I think we just... If we had more delta V or more thrust to weight, I think we could do it. Barely. But I think we could do it. If we had a docking port up here, that would help tremendously because we'd be able to utilize this fuel more efficiently, and the engine would help with that. But I think that we just need to completely redesign our lander and just make it a much smarter lander design. Because it's not very smart right now. There's no doubt about that. So that's reasonably fine. This is completely broken our staging. Okay, that's definitely noted. We're going to need to go through and deactivate all of these engines. That's going to be a necessary thing. But that's normal. That's something that KSP2 would have done as well. So that's fine. I believe I got all of them there. Let's just double check that. Hang on. You're not deactivated. Are you deactivated? No. Okay. 3 of them weren't deactivated there. 4 of them weren't deactivated. There's still 1 not deactivated. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so all of these can be put into this stage. That's fine. I'm going to move this stage up. Yeah, our staging is completely and totally broken right now. Okay. There we go. And these engines are activated again. That's awkward. 4, 5, and 6. I think they were activating because they were in the first stage. And now they're not in any stage whatsoever. We put them up here. and they're not activated. Okay, that's fine. Our staging is, of course, still fundamentally broken right now. I want to add a stage here. Okay. This ends up going, like, up here. This stage would go down this way. This would go up here. Where do these fall off? They fall off basically here. Okay. So I think our staging is fixed now. That looks correct. Are these engines deactivated? We don't want them to be burning. Yes, they are. Okay. I think we're good. So let's warp on forward here. 4x is the best we can warp, but it is time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to bring these guys back home. Our dry run of Tylo is, at this point, complete. There's not, I think, anything else that we can do here, unfortunately. We just need to redesign our lander. I think there's no way around it. So that'll be fine. We'll do that next episode. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings. And a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Atala, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.